Have you ever wondered if the solid world around you is actually a ghost? Take a moment right now to look at your hand. Place it on the surface nearest to you. Perhaps the smooth coolness of a wooden desk, the soft fabric of a blanket, or the cold glass of a screen. Close your eyes and truly feel that sensation. You feel the pressure, the texture, the temperature. Your brain tells you that you are touching a solid object, that there is no space between your skin and the world. But this is an illusion. It is a magnificent, convincing, and necessary lie that the universe tells your senses every single second of your life. The honest truth, the scientific reality that sits quietly beneath the surface of everything you know, is that you have never truly touched anything. You are floating. You are hovering on a cushion of invisible forces suspended over an abyss of empty space that is so vast and so deep that your mind struggles to comprehend it. If you are anything like me, you probably think of matter as something dense, something packed tight with substance. We are used to the world feeling full, but the reality of the cosmos, from the smallest particle to the largest galaxy, is that emptiness is the rule, and substance is the rare exception. What you are actually feeling when you press your hand against the table is not matter touching matter. It is the electromagnetic repulsion of trillions of tiny, ghostly entities pushing against each other, refusing to share the same space, like magnets floating above a rail. These entities are the architects of our reality. They are the weavers of the illusion of solidity. We call them electrons. And the story I want to tell you today suggests that these tiny sparks of energy might be something far more profound than just simple building blocks. There is a theory born from a late-night phone call between two of the greatest physicists of the 20th century that suggests every single electron in the universe, every spark in every star, every lightning bolt in every storm, every firing neuron in your brain might actually be the exact same electron, just one. One single entity, stitching together the fabric of space and time, appearing everywhere at once to create the matrix of what we call reality. If you enjoy exploring the deep mysteries of existence and questioning the very nature of the ground beneath your feet, please take a moment to like this video and subscribe to the channel. It helps us continue this quiet journey into the unknown together. Now, let us set the stage by shrinking ourselves down. Let us leave the world of human scales, of meters and kilometers and hours, and descend into the quantum realm. Imagine we can zoom in on the tip of your index finger. As we get closer, the skin resolves into ridges and valleys, the fingerprints that make you unique. Closer still, and we see the cells, the complex biological machines that keep you alive. But we must go deeper. We pass through the cell walls, past the twisting ladders of DNA, down to the molecules that build them. And finally, we arrive at the atom. For a long time, humanity thought this was the end of the line. The word atom itself comes from the Greek atomos, meaning indivisible. We thought it was a hard, solid ball of matter. But just like our view of the galaxy changed when we built better telescopes, our view of the atom shattered when we looked closer. To understand just how empty an atom is, I want you to imagine a large sports stadium. Picture the largest stadium you have ever seen, with tens of thousands of seats rising up in great concrete waves on all sides. Now, imagine that this entire stadium is a single atom. Sitting right in the center, on the 50-yard line, is a small glass marble. That marble represents the nucleus, the cluster of protons and neutrons where almost all the mass of the atom resides. It is heavy dense, and incredibly small. Now, look up at the highest seats in the stadium, the nosebleed section at the very rim of the structure. There, buzzing around the edge like a tiny, invisible gnat, is the electron. And what is in between the marble in the center and the gnat at the edge? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Just empty space. A void so perfect and so vast relative to the size of the particles that it makes the space between stars look crowded. If you were to remove all the empty space from the atoms that make up the entire human race, all 8 billion of us, you could fit the remaining physical matter into the volume of a single sugar cube. That is how ghostly we are. We are walking voids, anomalies of emptiness, held together by the frantic energy of these electrons. But the electron is not just a moon orbiting a planet. That is the old model, the picture we were all shown in high school textbooks, little balls orbiting a bigger ball. The reality is far stranger and far more beautiful. The electron is not a solid object in the way a rock is solid. It is a smear of probability. It is a ghost that exists in many places at once, a cloud of potential that only hardens into a specific location when we interact with it. In our stadium analogy, that single electron is not just a gnat flying in a circle. It is everywhere in the stands at the same time. It is a wave of energy that washes over the entire structure, creating a shell, a barrier of force. This barrier is what you feel when you touch the table. The electrons in your hand and the electrons in the wood push against each other with a force that is trillions of times stronger than gravity. They refuse to occupy the same quantum state. They are like dancers who never touch but move in perfect synchronization to keep their distance. This is the first layer of the illusion, the solidity you trust, the ground you walk on, the body you inhabit. It is all a trick of the light, a force field generated by particles that have no physical size at all. According to our best physics, the electron is a point particle. It has mass, yes, though it is incredibly light, about 1/1800th the mass of a proton. But, as far as we can tell, it has no radius, it has no volume. It is a mathematical point of pure charge, a singularity of negative energy. How can something with zero size build a universe of such immense scale? How can a zero-dimensional point create the three-dimensional richness of a mountain, an ocean, or a human eye? This brings us to the deep mystery that haunts the heart of quantum mechanics. In the observable universe, there are estimated to be about 10 to the power of 80 atoms. That is a one followed by 80 zeros, a number so large that if you turned every grain of sand on Earth into a universe and counted every atom in those universes, you would still not be close. And since hydrogen is the most common element, consisting of one proton and one electron, we can estimate that there are roughly 10 to the power of 80 electrons out there. They are in the heart of the sun, fusing hydrogen into helium to give us light. They are in the chlorophyll of plants, capturing that sunlight to create life. They are flowing through the circuits of the device you are using to listen to my voice right now. And here is the strange thing. Every single one of them is identical, not just similar. Identical. If you take a rock from the moon and a rock from Mars and compare their electrons, you cannot tell them apart. They have exactly the same mass, exactly the same charge, exactly the same spin. There is no such thing as a fat electron or a skinny electron. There are no old electrons or young electrons. They are absolute, perfect copies of one another. In the macroscopic world, this never happens. Every apple is slightly different. Every snowflake is unique. Even identical twins have different fingerprints. But in the quantum world, this diversity vanishes. Why should this be? Why would nature create 10 to the power of 80 separate particles that are all cloned with such infinite precision? It is a coincidence that begs for an explanation. It challenged the minds of the greatest scientists of the last century. And one day, in the spring of 1940, a young physicist named Richard Feynman received a telephone call that offered a solution so radical, so simple, and yet so mind-bending that it sounds more like science fiction than science fact. The voice on the other end of the line belonged to his mentor, the legendary John Wheeler. Wheeler was excited. He said, "Feynman, I know why all electrons have the same charge and the same mass." Feynman asked, "Why?" And Wheeler replied with a sentence that could dismantle our entire understanding of reality. "Because they are all the same electron." Let that sink in for a moment. Pause, and let the silence of that idea settle in your mind. Wheeler was suggesting that the trillions upon trillions of electrons that make up the stars, the galaxies, the planets, and your own body are not trillions of separate particles. They are one single particle, one lonely, infinite traveler weaving back and forth through the fabric of time and space so quickly, crossing its own path so many times, that it creates the illusion of a filled universe. Imagine a single thread used to knit a sweater. If you look at the sweater, you see thousands of individual stitches. You might think they are separate knots, but if you pull on the thread, you realize it is all one continuous line, looping over and under itself. Wheeler was suggesting that the universe is a four-dimensional tapestry, and the electron is the thread. This theory, known as the one-electron universe, sounds impossible. It sounds like a dream, but as we will see, it solves some of the most stubborn paradoxes in physics. It explains the perfect identity of every electron. It explains the mystery of antimatter. And it hints at a connection between all things that is deeper and more intimate than we ever dared to imagine. If it is true, it means that the electron currently powering the thought you're having is the same electron that once existed in the heart of a dinosaur. It is the same electron that shines in the most distant quasar at the edge of the observable cosmos. We are not just made of star stuff, as Carl Sagan famously said. We are made of the same stuff, literally. We are patterns formed by a single, timeless entity dancing with itself across the eternity of space-time. But before we can fully understand this dizzying possibility, we need to understand the character of our protagonist. We need to get to know the electron itself. This tiny spark is the most active agent in the universe. While the heavy protons and neutrons sit quietly in the center of the atom like kings on a throne, the electrons are the messengers, the diplomats, and the warriors. They are the ones that forge chemical bonds, holding atoms together to make molecules. They are the ones that absorb and emit photons, allowing us to see the beauty of a sunset or the glow of a screen. Without the electron's frenetic dance, the universe would be a dark, inert sea of neutral particles. There would be no light, no chemistry, no life. The electron is the breath of the cosmos, and yet it remains a ghost. We can never catch it in one place. The Heisenberg uncertainty principle tells us that the more we know about where an electron is, the less we know about where it is going. It refuses to be pinned down. It demands to be free, to exist as a cloud of possibilities rather than a single fact. There is a profound humility in studying the electron. It reminds us that at the fundamental level, reality is not rigid. It is fluid. It is open to interpretation. It is gentle like a whisper, yet powerful enough to hold up the weight of mountains. As we embark on this journey to discover if we are living in a matrix generated by a single particle, we must be willing to let go of our common sense. We must be willing to think like a photon. We must be open to the idea that time does not flow only in one direction. We must be prepared to feel small, but also to feel infinite. In the face of the quantum mystery, we can feel confused, or we can feel wonder. I choose wonder. Come with me now. Let us step into the void between the nucleus and the shell. Let us trace the path of the ghost in the machine. Let us ask the question that whispers from the silence of the atom. Are we all one? To understand why a genius like John Wheeler would propose that the entire universe is made of a single particle, we must first confront a fact so strange that we usually ignore it because it seems too impossible to be true. It is the mystery of identity. In the world we inhabit, the world of coffee cups and trees and people, uniqueness is the rule. You can walk along a beach and pick up 1,000 seashells, and while they may look similar from a distance, if you bring them close to your eye, you will see that each one has its own story. One has a chip on the rim from a storm 10 years ago. Another has a slightly different swirl of color painted by the random chemistry of the ocean. Even in the world of mass production, this holds true. If you go to a factory and look at 10,000 identical cars coming off the assembly line, a careful inspection will reveal microscopic differences. A scratch in the paint here, a slightly tighter bolt there. Entropy, the chaotic force of the universe, ensures that nothing is ever truly a perfect copy of anything else. Chaos leaves its mark on everything, that is, except the electron. The electron defies this fundamental intuition of reality. You can take an electron that was forged in the Big Bang 13.8 billion years ago and placed it next to an electron that was created in a particle accelerator in Switzerland 1 second ago. You can measure them with the most sensitive instruments humanity has ever devised. You can check their mass, their charge, their spin, their magnetic moment, and you will find absolutely no difference. None. There is no birthmark on an electron. There is no sign of age. There is no wear and tear from the billions of years of cosmic history it has witnessed. Every electron is a perfect, flawless, absolute clone of every other electron. Let us look at the numbers, because the precision is haunting. The mass of an electron is approximately 9.10938,356 times 10 to the power of negative 31 kilograms. It is not 9.10 for some and 9.11 for others. It is exactly that number everywhere, always. The charge is negative 1.602176634 times 10 to the power of negative 19 coulombs. It never varies. Why? Why does the universe demand such rigorous, obsessive perfection for its building blocks? If you were to imagine a cosmic factory churning out these particles, the level of quality control would have to be infinite. It implies a kind of industrial standardization that seems alien to the organic, messy nature of the world we see around us. This problem of identical particles kept physicists awake at night for decades. It suggests that electrons are not things in the way we understand things. If you have 2 tennis balls, you can swap them, and even if they look identical, you know that ball A is now where ball B was. They have a history. They have a trajectory. But in quantum mechanics, if you swap 2 electrons, the universe literally does not know the difference. The reality itself does not register a change. They are not just indistinguishable to our eyes. They are indistinguishable to the laws of physics. This leads us to a profound realization. Perhaps we are thinking about them wrong. Perhaps they are not individual marbles cut from the same cloth. Perhaps they are something else entirely. Imagine for a moment that you are standing on the shore of a vast, calm ocean at night. The water stretches out to the horizon, dark and silent. Suddenly, a wind picks up and whitecaps begin to form on the waves. You see a whitecap here, another one there, and another one further out. You could point to them and count them. 1 wave, 2 waves, 3 waves. You could give them names. You could treat them as separate objects moving across the water. But are they really separate objects? Or are they just temporary disturbances of the same underlying substance? A wave is not a thing that travels. It is a motion of the water itself. You cannot take a wave home in a bucket. If you scoop up the water, the wave is gone, because the wave was never the water. It was the energy moving through the water. This is the view of modern quantum field theory. It suggests that the empty space of the universe is not truly empty. It is filled with fields, invisible, fluid-like mediums that permeate every centimeter of the cosmos. There is an electron field that stretches from one end of the universe to the other. It is like a cosmic ocean that is everywhere at once. And what we call an electron, that tiny particle we think of as a building block, is just a ripple in this field. It is a knot of energy. It is an excitation of the underlying fluid. This explains why they are all identical. They are all identical because they are all made of the exact same stuff, the electron field. A ripple in the Atlantic Ocean looks like a ripple in the Pacific Ocean because it is all just water following the same laws of hydrodynamics. An electron in your brain looks like an electron in a distant star because they are both just momentary peaks in the same universal field. This is a beautiful, elegant explanation. It satisfies the mind. It tells us that underneath the illusion of separation, there is a unity of substance. But John Wheeler, the man who called Richard Feynman that day in 1940, was not satisfied with just fields. He wanted to push the idea further. He looked at the math, and he saw a ghost in the equations. He saw a possibility that was even stranger than an infinite ocean. He saw a way to explain not just why electrons are identical, but why they exist at all. Remember that number we discussed? 10 to the power of 80. That is the estimated number of atoms in the observable universe. It is a number so big it makes you dizzy just trying to think about it. If you were to count one atom every second, it would take you longer than the lifespan of 1 trillion universes to finish. Wheeler looked at this number, and he asked a simple, childlike question. Why are there so many? Why not just one? Or why not infinite? Why 10 to the power of 80? It seems arbitrary. It seems messy. And that is when the radical idea struck him. Maybe there are not 10 to the power of 80 electrons. Maybe the reason they all look the same is not because they are copies, and not even because they are ripples in the same field. Maybe they all look the same because they are the same object appearing in different places at the same time. Imagine a bird flying through a dark room. You cannot see the bird, but you have a camera that takes a picture every time the bird flaps its wings. If the bird flies fast enough, and your camera shutter is open long enough, the photograph will not show one bird. It will show a flock. It will show a blurred trail of hundreds of birds. If you showed that photo to someone who did not know better, they would say, "Look at all those birds. They're all identical. They must be clones." But you would know the truth. You would know it is one lonely traveler moving so fast that it creates the illusion of a crowd. Wheeler proposed that the electron is that bird, and the room it is flying through is the entire universe. But for this trick to work, for one single particle to appear as 10 to the power of 80 particles all at once, it would have to move in a way that defies our common understanding of reality. It would have to move not just through space, but through time. It would have to be able to travel back from the future to the past. It would have to weave the fabric of history by stitching the moments together, looping back on itself again and again and again. This is where the story shifts from a lesson in particle physics to a journey into the nature of time itself. We tend to think of time as a river that flows in one direction. We are born, we live, we die. The cup breaks, and it does not unbreak. The egg scrambles, and it does not unscramble. We call this the arrow of time, and it governs every aspect of our macroscopic lives. But down in the basement of reality, in the quantum world where the electron lives, the arrow of time is not so rigid. The equations of physics, the fundamental laws that describe how particles move, do not care which way time flows. If you film a planetary orbit and play it backward, it still looks like a valid orbit. If you film 2 billiard balls colliding and play it backward, it still obeys the laws of conservation of momentum. To an electron, the past and the future might just be directions, like left and right, or up and down. And if an electron can move backward in time, it changes everything. Wheeler realized that if an electron traveled forward in time, reached the end of the universe, turned around, and traveled backward to the beginning, it would pass through this moment, right now, twice. Once going forward and once going backward. And if it did that 1 trillion times, looping back and forth like a thread through a needle, it would appear to us, stuck in our single moment of time, as trillions of separate particles. But this theory created a new problem, a problem that Wheeler needed to solve instantly if his idea was going to work. If we see the forward-moving sections of the thread as electrons, what do we see when we look at the backward-moving sections? What does an electron moving backward in time look like to us? It would look like a particle with the same mass, the same spin, but with opposite charge. Instead of negative, it would be positive. Did such a particle exist? In 1940, this was a bold question, but nature, as it turns out, had already provided the answer. There is a mirror image of the electron, a ghostly twin that appears in our particle accelerators and in the cosmic rays that rain down from the sky. We call it the positron. And in Wheeler's grand vision, the positron was not a different particle at all. It was just the electron, our familiar friend, on its return journey from the end of time. As we pause here, hovering on the edge of this revelation, I want you to feel the weight of what this implies. Look at your hand again, the electrons vibrating in your skin, giving you substance, giving you warmth. Imagine that half of them are travelers from the deep past, rushing towards the future, and imagine that the other half, or the antimatter partners that exist briefly in the vacuum, are travelers from the deep future, rushing back to the past. Imagine that your body is a busy intersection for a single, eternal entity that is weaving the tapestry of your existence. The solidity you feel is a result of this frantic motion. You are not a static object. You are a process. You are a standing wave in the ocean of time. The electron is the needle, and you are the pattern. And the most beautiful, terrifying part of this idea is yet to come. Because if there is only one electron, and it is bouncing back and forth to create all matter, then everything is connected in a way that transcends poetry. The electron in your left eye and the electron in your right hand are the same electron at different points in its journey. The electron in the heart of your worst enemy and the electron in the heart of your first love are the same electron. The electron in the star that died to create the iron in your blood is the same electron that is beating in your heart right now. It implies a oneness that is absolute. It implies that separation is the ultimate illusion. We are all just one lonely particle, playing a game of hide-and-seek with itself across the vastness of eternity. But if this is true, where are all the positrons? If the thread goes forward and backward an equal number of times, shouldn't the universe be made of half matter and half antimatter? Shouldn't we see as many backward travelers as forward travelers? When we look out at the cosmos, we see a universe dominated by matter. Antimatter is rare. It is a fleeting ghost. This was the question that Feynman asked Wheeler. But, Professor, he said, there are not as many positrons as electrons. And Wheeler's answer, which we will explore as we go deeper, was a cryptic guess. Maybe they are hidden in the protons, he said. Or maybe, just maybe, the tapestry is much larger than we can see. Let us continue this journey into the impossible. Let us follow the thread as it turns around at the end of time. Let us ask, what happens when the electron meets itself? When matter meets antimatter, we are told to expect catastrophe. It is the ultimate cosmic violence. If you were to shake hands with your antimatter twin, the resulting explosion would be brighter than 1,000 suns. It is the complete conversion of mass into energy, the total annihilation of substance into pure, blinding light. For decades, science fiction has used this as a weapon, a source of ultimate destruction. And in the standard model of physics, it is indeed a kind of suicide pact. The electron and the positron collide, and they both cease to exist. They vanish from the universe, leaving behind only the ghost of their energy in the form of gamma rays. It is a final full stop, a period at the end of the sentence of existence. But in the one-electron universe, this event is not an ending. It is not death. It is simply a corner. It is a change of direction. Imagine you are driving a car down a long, straight highway at night. From a helicopter high above, your headlights look like a beam of light moving north. Suddenly, you realize you have forgotten something. You slam on the brakes, spin the wheel, and execute a perfect U-turn. Now, you are driving south. To the observer in the helicopter, looking down at the moment of the turn, it looks like two cars, one traveling north and one traveling south, met at a single point and disappeared. The northbound car, the electron, vanished. The southbound car, the positron, vanished. But you, the driver, know the truth. There were never two cars. There was no collision. There was only you making a turn in the road. This simple geometric shift transforms our understanding of the universe's violence. What looks like destruction to us, trapped in our linear perception of time, is actually continuity to the electron. The flash of light, the gamma rays released during annihilation, that is just the screech of the tires. That is the energy required to pivot in the dimension of time. This brings us to one of the most famous tools in all of physics, a tool invented by Feynman himself to visualize these impossible dances, the Feynman diagram. Before Feynman, calculating the interactions of particles was a nightmare of algebra and calculus that could take months to solve. But Feynman, inspired by Wheeler's telephone call, started drawing little pictures. He drew a straight line for an electron. He drew a wiggly line for a photon. And he showed that annihilation was just a zigzag. A line moving forward in time, up the page, suddenly bends backward, down the page. At the bend, a photon flies off. It is elegant. It is simple. And it suggests that the fabric of reality is woven together by these zigzags, these stitch marks in space-time. Every time a particle interacts, every time energy is exchanged, it is the thread turning, looping, knotting itself into the structure we call matter. The solid ground beneath your feet is a carpet made of these loops. It is a frenzy of U-turns happening trillions of times a second. But if this is true, it means that the void of space is not empty at all. It is a crowded, chaotic ocean of potential turns. Quantum mechanics tells us that the vacuum is seething with virtual particles. These are electrons and positrons that pop into existence, borrow a little energy from the bank of the universe, and then annihilate each other almost instantly. In the standard view, this is a mysterious foam of creation and destruction. In the one-electron view, it is the thread vibrating. It is the single electron exploring all possible paths, taking tiny detours into the past and future, testing the boundaries of existence before settling back into the main weave. Imagine a guitar string that is vibrating so fast it looks like a solid blur. That blur is the vacuum. That blur is the foundation of everything. You are built on top of this blur. Your atoms are floating on this sea of virtual activity. It sounds unsettling, this idea that the ground is not stable. But there is a strange peace in it, too. It means that the universe is alive with activity, even in its quietest corners. It means that there is no such thing as true death in the quantum realm, only transformation, only a change of direction. Let us go deeper into the light. We said that when the electron turns, it releases a photon, a particle of light. Light is the messenger that carries the news of the turn to the rest of the universe. When you look at a candle flame, or the sun, or the screen of your phone, you are seeing the result of countless electrons changing their energy states, shifting their paths. In a poetic sense, light is the echo of the electron's dance. It is the song sung by the single particle as it weaves the cosmos. And here is where the connection becomes personal. When that light hits your eye, it interacts with the electrons in your retina. The photon is absorbed. Its energy is transferred to an electron in a molecule of rhodopsin. That electron shifts its shape, triggering a nerve impulse that travels to your brain. And you see light. You experience brightness. The dance of the electron in the candle has communicated with the dance of the electron in your eye. Across the void of space, the single thread has touched itself. It is a handshake between two parts of the same whole. Every visual experience you have ever had, the face of a loved one, the blue of the sky, the words on this page, is an internal communication within the one electron. It is the universe talking to itself. It is the matrix updating its own status. But we must address the scale of this tapestry. If there is only one electron, and it has to appear as 10 or $80 particles, the path it traces must be incomprehensibly complex. It cannot just be a simple loop. It must be a knot so tangled, so dense, that it fills the entire volume of the visible universe. This single line must zip from the Big Bang to the Big Crunch and back again, over and over, 10 to $80 times. It is a labyrinth of time. And this raises a question about free will. If the electron's path is already laid out, weaving from the beginning of time to the end, is the future already written? Is the tapestry finished? And are we just consciousness moving along the thread like a bead on a string? Or is the knot being tied right now? Does the electron decide which way to turn at every moment? Quantum mechanics suggests the latter. It suggests that the path is not fixed until it is observed. The electron is a cloud of probability until it interacts. This means the tapestry is being woven in real time, or perhaps in all time. It is a living, breathing work of art that is constantly revising itself. The past might not even be as solid as we think. If the electron comes from the future, then the future affects the past. Your actions tomorrow could, in this wild theory, send ripples back to create the conditions of today. It is a loop of causality that breaks our linear logic. There is another mystery that the one-electron theory touches upon, one that brings us back to the missing antimatter. Remember Wheeler's guess? Maybe they are hidden in the protons. A proton is positively charged, just like a positron. But a proton is heavy, almost 2,000 times heavier than an electron. Could a proton be a positron in disguise? Could the backward-traveling electron somehow gain mass, get trapped in a different configuration, and become the nucleus of the atom? Standard physics says no. Protons are made of quarks, composite particles with their own complex rules. Positrons are fundamental, but Wheeler was brainstorming, dreaming, pushing the boundaries. He was looking for symmetry in a universe that seemed broken. Even if protons aren't the missing positrons, the question remains, where does the thread go when it travels backward? Some physicists have suggested that the backward parts of the loop are simply spread out so thinly, or hidden in such deep corners of the cosmos, that we don't notice them. Or perhaps, as some radical cosmologies suggest, there is an antimatter universe moving backward in time alongside ours, a mirror world where time runs in reverse, where broken cups reassemble, and where death is birth. In that mirror world, we are the antimatter, we are the ghosts, and the electron is the bridge that connects these two realities. I want you to close your eyes again. Picture that single thread. It is glowing with a soft blue light. It is moving faster than thought, faster than light, stitching the void into a solid fabric. It creates the chair you are sitting on. It creates the air you breathe. It creates the neurons that are picturing it right now. You are a knot in this thread, a temporary, beautiful, complex tangle that holds its shape for 70 or 80 or 90 years, and then the knot unties. The thread straightens out. The electron moves on. But the thread itself never breaks. It never ends. It just keeps weaving. This perspective shifts our fear of mortality. If we are all patterns of the same eternal substance, then death is just the substance rearranging itself. The singer dies, but the song continues. The dancer stops, but the dance goes on. We are the song. We are the dance. We are the one electron. But there is a catch. There is always a catch in quantum mechanics. If this theory is true, it implies a universe that is strictly determined, a block universe where the entire path is already laid out. Or does it? Does the complexity of the knot allow for freedom? And what about the other particles? What about the quarks, the neutrinos, the gluons? Are they also single threads? Is the universe made of a handful of eternal strings, weaving a symphony of interactions? Or is it possible, and hold on to your seat for this one, that all particles are just different vibrations of the same fundamental string? String theory, the distant cousin of Wheeler's idea, suggests exactly that. But Wheeler's vision was simpler, more raw. He focused on the electron because it is the interface of our reality. It is the part of the universe we touch. It is the light we see. It is the thought we think. By reducing the myriad complexity of the world to a single actor, he invites us to look at the stranger across the room and see ourselves. Not metaphorically, but physically. That person is you at a different point in the timeline. The tree outside is you. The distant star is you. It is the ultimate scientific expression of empathy. I am he as you are me, and we are all together. The Beatles might have been onto something. As we prepare to move to the next chapter of this mystery, we must ask, if the electron is the weaver, what is the loom? What is the background against which this thread is moving? Is it empty space, or is space itself made of something? Einstein told us that space is a fabric that can bend and warp. Could the electron be a stitch in that fabric? Or is it the needle that creates the fabric? The rabbit hole goes deeper. We are about to question the nature of the stage itself. We are about to ask if space is real, or if it is just another illusion created by the relationships between the parts of the one. Are you ready to deconstruct the void? Are you ready to see what lies beneath the nothingness? If we strip away the planets, the stars, the galaxies, and the swirling clouds of gas, what is left? We are left with space. For centuries, we thought of space as a stage, a passive, empty box where the drama of the universe took place. We imagined it as a void, a nothingness that sat quietly in the background, waiting for matter to fill it. But if the one-electron theory is true, if reality is a single thread weaving a complex knot, then the box cannot be empty. A thread needs something to hold on to. A wave needs water to move through. The vacuum of space, it turns out, is not a vacuum at all. It is a plenum. It is a seething, boiling, frantic ocean of energy that exists everywhere, all the time, even in the deepest silence between the stars. This is what physicists call the quantum vacuum, or sometimes the zero-point field. Imagine you could empty a cup of all its water. Then you pump out all the air. Then you shield it to remove all light and radiation. You cool it down to absolute zero, stopping all atomic motion. You might think the cup is now truly empty, but you would be wrong. Inside that dark, cold, empty space, there is still a hum. There is a vibration. Particles are popping in and out of existence, borrowing energy from the fabric of reality itself and paying it back microseconds later. The loom upon which our single electron weaves its tapestry is this living, breathing field of potential. This changes our metaphor of the weaver significantly. The electron is not just flying through a dark room. It is surfing. It is interacting with this hidden ocean at every moment of its journey. Every time the electron moves, it drags a cloud of these virtual particles with it, like a ship pulling a wake through the water. It is never truly alone, and this interaction might explain why the thread of reality holds together. It explains why the electron has mass, the resistance of the ocean to the ship's movement. It explains why the laws of physics are the same here as they are a billion light years away, because the ocean is the same ocean. The matrix of reality is not just the particle, it is the conversation between the particle and the void. It is a dialogue between the something and the nothing. And in this dialogue, we find the roots of an even deeper mystery, the illusion of distance. If you look at the night sky, you see stars that are light years apart. You see a vast separation. To reach the nearest star, Proxima Centauri, would take our fastest rockets thousands of years. We are conditioned to believe that distance is a barrier. We believe that for two things to affect each other, they must touch, or at least send a signal across the gap. But the one-electron theory whispers a different truth. It suggests that distance is just a measure of the thread's length, not a measure of separation. If I hold two ends of a long rope, my hands might be 10 meters apart, but they are connected by a single continuous object. If I wiggle one end, the other end moves. The connection is instant because the object is one. This brings us to the phenomenon that Albert Einstein famously called spooky action at a distance. In the formal language of physics, we call it quantum entanglement. It is perhaps the most mind-bending concept in all of science, and it fits into the one-electron model with terrifying elegance. Here is how it works in the standard view. We take two particles, say two electrons, and we bring them together so they interact. They become entangled, sharing a quantum state. Then we separate them. We send one to the other side of the room and the other to the far side of the galaxy. According to quantum mechanics, if we measure the spin of the electron in the room and find it to be up, the electron across the galaxy will instantly, essentially at that exact moment, snap into a down spin. It happens faster than the speed of light. It happens instantaneously. It is as if they are communicating telepathically. Einstein hated this. He believed that nothing could travel faster than light, not even information. He thought there must be a hidden variable, a secret instruction written inside the particles that told them what to do. But experiments conducted over the last half-century have proven Einstein wrong. The connection is real. The universe is non-local, meaning that objects can be connected regardless of how far apart they are in space. Now, look at this through the lens of John Wheeler's theory. Why are those two electrons connected? Why does one know what the other is doing? Because they're not two electrons. They are the same electron. The entanglement is just a point where the thread loops back on itself. The particle in your lab and the particle in the distant galaxy are just two sections of the same continuous line. When you tug on the thread here, the tension is felt there, not because a signal traveled across space, but because the structure itself is a single unity. Space is not a barrier to the electron. Space is the pattern created by the electron. This dissolves the paradox. There is no spooky action. There is just action. The spookiness comes from our limited perspective, from our insistence on seeing the world as a collection of separate fragments. We see the two ends of the rope sticking out of the water and think they are two different snakes. We do not see the loop beneath the surface. If this hypothesis holds, it means the universe is holographic in nature. It means that every part contains the whole. The information of the entire cosmos is encoded in every single point, because every single point is visited by the same traveler. It implies a level of intimacy that is hard to process emotionally. It means that you are entangled with everything. The atoms in your body have interacted with atoms from exploding stars, from ancient oceans, from the breath of ancestors. Those interactions forged connections that time cannot break. In the one-electron universe, you are never truly isolated. Isolation is a geometric fiction. Connection is the fundamental reality. Let us pause and feel the texture of this idea. Think of a moment when you felt a sudden, inexplicable connection to someone. A moment when you looked into a stranger's eyes and felt a shock of recognition. Or a moment when you stood under the stars and felt not small, but expansive, as if the boundary between your skin and the night sky had dissolved. Science calls this psychology or perception, but perhaps it is physics. Perhaps it is the resonance of the thread recognizing itself. Perhaps empathy, that ability to feel what another is feeling, is just the macroscopic echo of quantum entanglement. If we are all made of the same single particle, weaving back and forth through time, then hurting another is literally hurting yourself. Helping another is helping yourself. The golden rule, do unto others as you would have them do unto you, becomes a law of physics, a consequence of the singular nature of existence. We are a collective organism pretending to be individuals. We are a single mind fractured into billions of perspectives. The electron is the mechanism of this fracturing, the tool that allows the one to experience itself as the many. This is a heavy thought. It carries the weight of a spiritual revelation, but it is built on the hard mathematics of quantum field theory. It is where mysticism and mechanism shake hands. But we must return to the loom. If space is the medium and the electron is the weaver, is the tapestry ever finished? Wheeler's theory suggests a completed loop, a journey from the beginning to the end and back. But quantum mechanics introduces the element of uncertainty, of probability. This suggests the weaving is an active process. The universe is not a static painting hanging on a wall. It is a movie being projected frame by frame. And the refresh rate of this screen is the Planck time, 5.39 times 10 to the power of negative 44 seconds. That is how fast the electron is stitching. That is the tick rate of reality. In every single one of those infinitesimal moments, the electron decides where to be. It explores all possible paths, as Feynman showed with his sum over histories approach. It sniffs out every potential route from A to B, and the reality we see is the sum of all those possibilities. This means the solid world is actually a superposition of infinite ghosts. The chair you are sitting on is the average of 1 trillion slightly different chairs. You are the average of 1 trillion slightly different yous. The one electron is not just weaving one thread, it is vibrating across all possible timelines, collapsing them into the singular experience of now. This is the matrix of reality. It is a code of probability executed by a single processor. And just like in a computer simulation, the efficiency is paramount. Why simulate 1 trillion particles when one loop can do the job? Why render the whole universe when you only need to render what is being observed? This brings us to the edge of the next great cliff in our journey. We have talked about the particle. We have talked about the void. We have talked about the thread that connects them. But a painting implies a painter, and a movie implies a viewer. Who is watching this display? In quantum mechanics, the observer plays a critical role. The wave function does not collapse into a particle until it is measured. The electron stays a cloud of potential until something interacts with it. Does this mean the universe requires consciousness to exist? Does the one electron need an audience to perform its dance? Or is the electron itself conscious? Is the weaver aware of the pattern it is creating? Some physicists have ventured into the territory of panpsychism, the idea that consciousness is a fundamental property of matter, like mass or charge. If the electron is the fundamental unit, does it carry a spark of rudimentary mind? Is that why we, made of electrons, have minds? Are we the amplified consciousness of the single particle? Imagine the electron as a tiny point of awareness zipping through time. When it is in your brain, it contributes to your thought. When it is in a rock, it rests in a slumber. But it is the same awareness, cycling through different states of complexity. We are the universe waking up to itself, one loop at a time. As you sit here, breathing in the quiet atmosphere of these thoughts, let the walls of your room fade away. Let the floor beneath you dissolve into a grid of shimmering blue lines. See the air as a swirling mist of virtual potential. Feel the connection to the person in the next room, in the next house, in the next country. Visualize the thread of light connecting your heart to theirs. It is not a metaphor. It is the architecture of your existence. You are woven into the cosmos. You are not a stranger here. You are the fabric itself. The loneliness you sometimes feel is just the forgetfulness of the knot. It is the amnesia of the individual. But deep down, in the subatomic basement of your being, you know the truth. You know you are the traveler. You know you are the one. And as we prepare to peel back the next layer of reality, we must ask, if we are the observer, what happens when we close our eyes? Does the universe disappear? Does the electron stop moving? Or is there a deeper reality, a base reality that exists beneath even the quantum foam? Are you ready to question the very nature of mind? Are you ready to look into the mirror and see no one looking back? Have you ever closed your eyes in a quiet room and wondered if the world simply ceased to exist the moment you stopped looking at it? It sounds like the kind of question a child would ask, or perhaps a philosopher lost in abstract thought. But in the strange, shimmering landscape of quantum mechanics, this is not just a philosophical game. It is a legitimate scientific mystery that challenges the very foundation of what we consider real. We assume that the universe is a solid, objective stage that exists independently of us. We assume that the electron is always there, whether we are measuring it or not. But the one-electron theory, combined with the bizarre rules of quantum observation, suggests something far more unsettling. It suggests that the universe might not be a stage at all, but a performance that requires an audience to happen. If the single electron is weaving the tapestry of reality, stitching together the stars and the atoms of your body through its infinite journey in time, we must ask, who is watching the tapestry being woven? Does the pattern exist if there is no one to trace it? Or are we, the observers, not just watching the show, but actively directing it with our gaze? If you enjoy peeling back the layers of reality to see the gears turning underneath, please take a moment to like this video and subscribe to the channel. It helps us bring more content like this to you and lets us know that you want to keep exploring the deep mysteries of existence together. To understand the power of your own gaze, we have to return to the most famous experiment in the history of physics, the double-slit experiment. Imagine we have a barrier with two narrow slits cut into it. Behind this barrier, we place a detector screen, like a piece of photographic film. Now, we fire our electrons at the barrier, one by one. Remember, in our theory, these are not random bullets. They are the same single entity appearing again and again. But let's look at what happens in the lab. If we fire the electrons and do not look to see which slit they go through, something magical happens. They do not land on the screen like tiny pellets. They land in a pattern of alternating light and dark bands. An interference pattern. This is the signature of a wave. It means that the single electron somehow went through both slits at the same time. It rippled through the left opening and the right opening simultaneously, interfered with itself, and landed as a probability wave. The ghost was fluid. The ghost was everywhere. But now, imagine we get curious. We place a sensor next to the slits to see which path the electron actually takes. We force the universe to give us a definite answer, left or right. The moment we turn that sensor on, the moment we observe, the pattern changes. The interference vanishes. The electron stops acting like a wave and starts acting like a solid particle. It goes through only one slit. It lands like a bullet. The magic trick ends. Why? Why does the mere act of looking change the fundamental nature of matter? It is as if the electron knows it is being watched. It is as if the universe behaves differently when it is under surveillance. In the context of the one-electron universe, this takes on a staggering significance. If there is only one electron zigzagging through eternity to build the cosmos, does it remain a wave of probability until it intersects with consciousness? Is the solid world you see around you just the wake of the electron collapsing into certainty because you are there to witness it? Think of a video game. When you play a vast open-world game, the computer does not render the entire world at once. That would be a waste of processing power. It only renders what is on your screen. The mountains behind you, the rooms you have not entered, the characters you are not talking to, they exist only as code, as potential, as data on a hard drive. They only become real images when you turn your virtual camera toward them. John Wheeler, the father of the one-electron theory, believed the universe operated on a similar principle. He called it the participatory universe. He suggested that we are not passive bystanders, we are participators. By asking questions of nature, by observing, by measuring, we are actually helping to bring reality into existence. We are the mechanism that turns the maybe into the is. The electron offers the potential, the observer provides the reality. But this raises an even deeper, more personal question. If we are the universe observing itself, as Carl Sagan said, and if the universe is built by a single electron, then what is the relationship between the particle and the I? Is it possible that just as there is only one electron, there is also only one observer? Look into the eyes of another person. You see a different face, a different history, a different personality, but science tells us that the light in their eyes is produced by the same electrons that produce the light in yours. The electrical impulses firing in their brain, creating the sensation of I am, are driven by the same fundamental current that drives yours. If the hardware of reality is a single entity, perhaps the software, consciousness itself, is also shared. Perhaps we are billions of windows looking out from the same house. The feeling of separation, of being a lonely ego trapped inside a bag of skin, might be the ultimate illusion created by the tangled knot of the electron's path. The knot creates complexity. The knot creates the me and the you. But the thread is just awareness, pure, undivided awareness. There is a philosophical idea called panpsychism, which has been gaining traction in modern neuroscience and physics. It suggests that consciousness is not something that magically appears when you put enough neurons together. It suggests that consciousness is a fundamental property of matter, like mass or charge. It proposes that even an electron has a tiny, rudimentary flicker of experience. Not a complex thought like, I am an electron, but perhaps a simple sensation of force, of spin, of existence. If this is true, and if there is only one electron, then the entire universe is a single conscious system experiencing itself trillions of times per second. The electron is not just a building block of matter, it is a building block of mind. When it zips through the neural networks of your brain, that rudimentary awareness is amplified, combined, and structured into the rich symphony of human thought. You are the universe waking up. Your curiosity, your wonder, your love, these are the emotions of the cosmos feeling itself. The matrix is not a prison. It is a body. And you are the ghost in the machine, but you are also the machine itself. Let this thought settle in the quiet spaces of your mind. It can be frightening to let go of the boundary of the self. We cling to our identity, to our names, to our stories. But there is a tremendous peace in realizing that you are supported by the fundamental fabric of existence. You do not have to hold the universe up. It is holding you up. You do not have to force meaning into your life. You are the meaning. Every time you look at the stars, it is the one electron in your eye catching the photon emitted by the one electron in the star. It is a moment of recognition It is a cosmic high five. This perspective changes how we walk through the world. It makes the pavement feel different under our feet, not like dead stone, but like a buzzing lattice of energy. It makes the air feel different, not empty, but full of potential. It changes how we treat each other. If the person standing in front of you is literally you in a different guise, then anger becomes absurd. Compassion becomes the only logical response. Science, at its deepest level, does not strip the world of magic. It reveals a magic far more potent than any myth. But we are not done. We have looked at the particle, the void, and the observer. Now we must confront the most stubborn illusion of all, time. For the one electron to weave the universe, it must travel from the beginning to the end and back again. It must exist in the deep past and the far future simultaneously. This implies that the past is not gone. It implies that the future is not waiting to happen. It implies that the entire history of the universe, every dinosaur, every empire, every birthday party, every supernova, exists right now, frozen in a vast, timeless block of crystal. We are just moving our consciousness through it, like a spotlight moving across a dark stage. But if the electron can move backward, can we? Is our perception of time just a biological limit? Could we, in principle, step off the linear path? Wheeler's theory opens the door to the possibility that time is flexible, that causality is a loop, and that the end of the story might actually be the beginning. As we prepare to enter the next chapter, we will ask the question that haunts all of physics. What is time really? Is it a flow? Or is it a dimension we can learn to navigate? Are you ready to step out of the river and look at the whole map? Let us turn the page and see what lies beyond the ticking of the clock. Time is the most stubborn ghost in the machine of our reality. It is the invisible current that drags us from the cradle to the grave, the relentless wind that erodes mountains and memories alike. Sit quietly for a moment and listen to the rhythm of your own heart. Lub-dub, lub-dub, lub-dub. Each beat is a thief. It takes a moment of your life, a slice of your existence, and moves it from the realm of the now into the inaccessible vault of the past. We feel time as a loss. We feel it as a one-way street, where U-turns are forbidden by the laws of nature. If you drop a glass on the kitchen floor, it shatters into 1,000 sparkling shards. You can stand there for 1,000 years, waiting for the shards to leap back into your hand and seal themselves into a perfect vessel. But it will never happen. The arrow of time flies only in one direction, from order to disorder, from the whole to the broken, from the beginning to the end. We call this entropy. It is the tax we pay for existing in a complex universe. It creates the poignancy of our lives, the preciousness of the fleeting moment, the sorrow of goodbye. But here is the secret that the one-electron theory whispers into the ear of the cosmos. Time is not what you think it is. To the single electron that weaves the fabric of your body and the stars, the arrow of time is not a command. It is merely a suggestion, or perhaps it is just a coordinate, no different than left or right, up or down. In the deep, silent basement of quantum mechanics, the glass does not have to stay broken. The movie can run backward just as easily as it runs forward. Imagine the single electron on its journey. It travels forward through billions of years, witnessing the birth of galaxies and the cooling of planets. Then, at the end of cosmic history, in the cold silence of the final heat death, it turns around. It begins the long trek back toward the Big Bang, To the electron, this return journey is not time travel in the science fiction sense. It is simply motion. It is walking back down the hallway it just walked up. And as it travels backward, it interacts with the versions of itself that are traveling forward. The past electron shakes hands with the future electron. They dance, they collide, they entangle. This implies that the past is not a dead country that we have left behind. It implies that the past is alive, active, and physically present, pressing against the membrane of the now. The dinosaur that walked the earth 65 million years ago is not gone. The electron that powered its muscles is the same electron that is powering your thought right now, just at a different point in the loop. The loop exists in its entirety. The knot is tied. This view of reality is known as the block universe, or eternalism. It suggests that the universe is not a three-dimensional space changing over time, but a four-dimensional block where every moment, past, present, and future, exists simultaneously. Think of a loaf of bread. You can slice it and look at one slice at a time. That slice is your now, but the whole loaf exists at once. The heel of the bread, the Big Bang, and the crust at the other end, the Big Crunch, are part of the same object. In this view, your birth and your death are just 2 points on the same structure existing forever. Albert Einstein, whose work on relativity laid the foundation for this view, found great comfort in it. When his best friend, Michel Besso, died, Einstein wrote a letter to Besso's family that contained one of the most beautiful and profound sentences in the history of science. He wrote, "Now he has departed from this strange world a little ahead of me. That means nothing. People like us who believe in physics know that the distinction between past, present, and future is only a stubbornly persistent illusion. An illusion, a trick of the mind. Why does the illusion persist? Why do we feel trapped in the flow if the flow isn't real? Perhaps it is because our consciousness is the needle reading the groove of the record. The song is already pressed into the vinyl. The notes are all there, waiting. But we can only hear the note that is being played right now. The one-electron theory adds a physical mechanism to this block. It tells us how the block is built. It is built by the thread stitching through the block, binding the moments together. The electron is the thread that sews the slice of yesterday to the slice of today. Without this stitching, the moments would fly apart. There would be no continuity. There would be no memory. Memory in this light is not just a replay of a video stored in your brain. It is a physical connection to a previous loop of the thread. When you remember your childhood, you are tugging on the line that connects you to that coordinate in the block. You are resonating with your own past self. The distance between you and the child you once were is not a distance of time, but a distance of geometry, and the thread connects you still. But this idea of a frozen future, a destiny already written in the geometry of the electron's path, can feel claustrophobic. It asks us, do we have a choice? If the electron has already traveled to the end of time and come back, didn't it already decide what I am going to do tomorrow? Am I just a puppet acting out a script that was finished billions of years ago? This is the ancient tension between fate and free will, resurrected in the language of quantum field theory. But remember the quantum uncertainty. Remember the blur. The electron is not a sharp line, it is a cloud. It takes all possible paths. This suggests that the block universe might not be a single, rigid block of stone. It might be a block of possibilities, a holographic crystal, where every potential future exists as a ghostly shadow, waiting for the light of observation to make it solid. The one electron might be weaving a multiverse of threads, a tapestry so thick and so complex that it contains every choice you could possibly make. In one thread, you turn left. In another, you turn right. Both threads exist. Both versions of you exist. And your consciousness, the observer, is the navigator that chooses which thread to follow. You are steering your ship through the ocean of the electron's history. The ocean is already there, yes. The waves are already there. But the path you cut through them is yours. This restores our dignity. It gives us back our agency without destroying the eternal nature of the structure. We are explorers in a landscape of infinite potential, collapsing the wave function of our own lives with every breath we take. Let us take this contemplation to a deeper emotional level. We are creatures who suffer from the disease of transience. We grieve because things end. We mourn the loss of youth, the loss of loved ones, the fading of bright days. But the one electron tells us that ending is a local phenomenon, not a universal one. Nothing ever truly ends in the quantum realm. The pattern changes, the energy shifts, the thread turns a corner, but the substance remains. And if the past is still real, then nothing you have loved is ever lost. It is just elsewhere. It is safe in the vault of space-time. The laughter you shared with a friend who is gone, it is still vibrating in the coordinates where it happened. The sunlight that fell on your face 10 years ago, it is still shining in that slice of the loaf. We cannot walk back there with our physical feet, because our biology is built to march forward. We are engines of entropy, burning energy to move into the future, but our minds and the electrons that build them are not so limited. In moments of deep memory, in moments of love, in moments of dreams, we touch the eternal. We brush against the reality that everything is forever. This is the peace that passes understanding. It is the scientific realization that you are not a temporary flicker in the dark, but a permanent feature of the cosmos. You are a verse in the song that never stops playing. The needle may move past your groove, but the groove remains. But there is a darker side to the arrow of time, one that we must confront if we are to be honest explorers. If the electron returns from the future, what is it bringing back with it? We usually think of cause and effect as a chain where the past influences the future. I push the cup and it falls. But in a loop, the influence runs both ways. This is the concept of retrocausality. It suggests that the future might be pulling the present toward it, that the end of the universe is somehow dictating the beginning. Could it be that the electron acts as a messenger from the final moments of existence? Could it be carrying information from the ultimate destiny of the cosmos back to the Big Bang, fine-tuning the constants of nature to ensure that life eventually emerges? This is known as the teleological argument, the idea that the universe has a purpose, a goal. Most scientists are wary of this. It sounds too much like magic, but the one-electron theory makes it physically plausible. If the same particle visits every moment, it connects the alpha to the omega. It closes the circle. It makes the universe a self-consistent, self-creating loop. A snake eating its own tail, the ancient symbol of the Ouroboros. We are living inside this circle, and maybe, just maybe, the intuition you have, that you are meant to be here, that your life has a direction, that you are being guided, is not a delusion. Maybe it is the subtle pull of the thread, the tension of the electron connecting you to your own future self. Maybe you are being pulled forward by who you are becoming, just as much as you are being pushed by who you were. As we stand here, suspended in the illusion of the present moment, I want you to feel the weight of your own timeline. Visualize your life not as a series of fleeing seconds, but as a solid, beautiful sculpture, a long, twisting ribbon of experience that stretches from your birth to your death. See it glowing in the dark of the block universe. Now, see the ribbons of everyone you know. See how they weave together, how they knot and tangle. See how they merge and separate, and realize that all those ribbons are made of the same single thread. The one electron is the artist, and we are the art. The time it takes to weave us is just the artist's process. The art itself is timeless. This perspective invites us to slow down. If the moment is eternal, there is no need to rush. There is no need to panic about running out of time. You cannot run out of what you are made of. You can only experience it, breath by breath, beat by beat, U-turn by U-turn. The hurry is in the mind. The peace is in the electron. The electron knows it has all the time in the world, literally. It has all the time that ever was and ever will be. And since you are the electron, so do you. But we have one more frontier to cross in this exploration of the impossible. We have talked about the what, the particle, the where, the void, the who, the observer, and the when, time. Now we must ask the question of how. How does the thread shape itself into the forms we see? Why does it knot into a hydrogen atom here and a carbon atom there? Why does it build galaxies and spirals and DNA and helices? Is there a hidden geometry, a template that guides the weaving? Einstein taught us that gravity is the curvature of space. Could it be that the one electron is simply following the curves of a higher dimensional landscape? Is the shape of reality determined by the shape of the loom? We are about to enter the world of sacred geometry, of fractals, and of the hidden symmetry that organizes the chaos. We are about to ask if the universe is not just a machine, but a song, a vibration of pure mathematics. Are you ready to see the invisible scaffolding? Are you ready to listen to the music of the spheres? Let us turn our gaze from the clock to the compass and see where the map leads next. If you were to sprinkle sand onto a metal plate and draw a violin bow across its edge, something magical would happen. The chaotic, scattered grains would suddenly snap into order. They would race away from the areas of vibration and gather in the quiet nodes, forming perfect, intricate geometric patterns. Circles, stars, complex mandalas, all created by the invisible force of sound. This is called cymatics, the study of visible sound. It shows us that vibration organizes matter. It turns the shapeless into the shaped. Now, look at the world around you. Look at the spiral of a seashell, the hexagon of a honeycomb, the branching of a tree, the five-pointed star of a flower. Look at the structure of the atom itself, with its electron shells arranged in precise mathematical harmonies. Why does the universe have shape? Why isn't it just a formless soup of particles bumping into each other? The one-electron theory offers a poetic and physically profound answer. The universe is a song, and the single electron is the string that is playing it. If the electron is a single thread weaving back and forth through time, it is not just moving in straight lines. It is vibrating. It is oscillating. And the frequency of that vibration determines what matter looks like. In this view, a proton is not a hard rock. It is a chord. A neutron is a harmony. An atom is a symphony of standing waves held together by the resonance of the one. Let us descend once more into the quantum basement to understand this music of the spheres. In the early days of quantum mechanics, a French physicist named Louis de Broglie proposed a radical idea. He suggested that particles like electrons could behave like waves. This was not just a metaphor. He wrote down an equation, wavelength equals Planck's constant divided by momentum, that connected the physical property of mass to the musical property of wavelength. Erwin Schrödinger took this idea and ran with it. He formulated the wave equation, which describes how these quantum waves propagate, and when he applied it to the hydrogen atom, he found something beautiful. The electron in an atom does not orbit the nucleus like a planet orbits the sun. That planetary model, while easy to visualize, is wrong. Instead, the electron forms a standing wave. Imagine a guitar string plucked. It vibrates up and down, but the ends are fixed. The wave does not travel along the string. It stands in place, pulsing. The electron around the nucleus is a three-dimensional standing wave. It is a cloud of vibration that traps itself in a specific shape. And just like a guitar string can only play certain notes, the fundamental, the first harmonic, the second harmonic, the electron can only exist in certain shapes. We call these shapes orbitals. Some are spheres, some are dumbbells, some are complex clovers and donuts, but they are all, at their core, musical shapes. They are the harmonics of the vacuum. The reason an atom is stable, the reason it doesn't collapse, is because the electron is singing a specific note that sustains its structure. Now, expand this concept to the one-electron universe. If there is only one particle, then every atom in the cosmos is playing the same instrument. The electron zips from the past to the future, vibrates as a hydrogen atom here, then loops back, vibrates as a carbon atom there, then loops again to become a photon of light. It is a one-man band playing trillions of instruments simultaneously. The form of the universe, the difference between gold and lead, between air and stone, is just a difference in pitch. It is a difference in the frequency of the thread's vibration at that particular coordinate in the block of time. This connects us back to the ancient Greek philosophers. Pythagoras believed that the universe was built on number and harmony. He spoke of the music of the spheres, a celestial harmony produced by the movements of the planets. He could not have known about quantum mechanics. He could not have known about the wave function, but his intuition was flawless. The universe is music. It is a vast, silent orchestra where matter is the melody and space is the rhythm. And you, my friend, are a song. Your body is a complex, self-sustaining chord, a resonance of 7 octillion atoms, all vibrating in sync. When you feel out of tune, when you feel sick or anxious, perhaps it is a literal dissonance in the quantum field of your being. And when you feel peace, when you feel in the flow, perhaps it is because your personal vibration has locked into phase with the greater harmony of the environment. But what determines the tune? If the electron is the string, what is the guitar body? It is the geometry of space-time itself. Einstein showed us that space is not flat, it is curved. Mass tells space how to curve, and space tells mass how to move. In our musical analogy, the curvature of space acts like the shape of the violin. A Stradivarius sounds different from a cheap fiddle because of its shape, its wood, its resonance chamber. Similarly, the electron vibrates differently depending on the curvature of the space it is moving through. Near a black hole, where space is twisted and stretched to the breaking point, the song of the electron becomes a shriek. In the empty void between galaxies, it becomes a low, slow hum. The intricate tapestry of the one electron is shaped by the landscape it travels through, just as a river is shaped by the valley. But here is the recursive magic. The electron's movement creates the mass that curves the space. The river carves the valley. The song builds the instrument. It is a self-generating feedback loop of geometry and vibration. This is why nature loves patterns. Fractals, those repeating shapes we see in ferns and coastlines and blood vessels, are the visual echo of this feedback loop. They are the inevitable result of a simple equation, the electron's loop, repeating itself over and over at different scales. The electron doesn't need a blueprint to build a tree. It just needs to keep vibrating, keep looping, keep following the path of least resistance, and the tree emerges as a natural harmonic of the process. Let us sit with this image of the fractal universe. Close your eyes and visualize a fern unfolding. See how the small leaf looks exactly like the big branch. Now zoom in deeper. See the cells arranged in the same pattern. Zoom in to the molecules. Zoom in to the atoms. It is patterns all the way down. And at the very bottom, at the pixel level of reality, is that single, frenetic, glowing thread. The one electron dancing the same dance it has danced since the beginning of time. This realization dissolves the boundary between the natural and the mathematical. We often think of math as a cold, abstract human invention. But if the universe is built on frequency and geometry, then math is the native language of reality. It is the sheet music of the cosmos. When we discover a new equation, we are not inventing it. We are transcribing a few bars of the song that has been playing for billions of years. This is why physics works. This is why we can predict the motion of planets and the behavior of lasers, because we are learning to read the score. But every song has silence. Music is not just sound. It is the space between the sounds. Without the pause, the note has no meaning. In the one electron universe, what is the silence? It is the void we spoke of earlier. It is the quantum vacuum. But it is also the darkness that surrounds the light. We are frightened of the dark. We populate it with monsters. But in this symphony, the dark is just the canvas. It is the silence that allows the electron song to be heard. The emptiness of space is essential. If the universe were packed solid with matter, there would be no vibration, no movement, no life. The emptiness gives the electron room to dance. It gives you room to breathe. So, cherish the silence. Cherish the empty spaces in your life, the moments of boredom, of waiting, of quiet. Those are the nodes in the Chladni plate of your existence. Those are the places where the chaos settles into order. It is in the silence that the pattern becomes clear. There is a beautiful resonance between this scientific view and the ancient traditions of sound healing and mantra. Cultures around the world have long believed that sound creates reality. In the beginning was the Word, says the Bible. Om, says the Hindu tradition, the primordial sound of creation. The Aborigines speak of the song lines that mapped the world into existence. The one-electron theory gives these myths a physical mechanism. If the electron is a vibrating string, then the word is the initial frequency set at the Big Bang. The Om is the hum of the quantum field. We are living in an echo of that first great sound. And as we move through our lives, we are adding our own harmonics to it. Every thought you think is a frequency. Every word you speak ripples out into the air, vibrating the atoms, changing the pattern of the world in a tiny, subtle way. You are a co-composer. You are not just listening to the radio. You are broadcasting. Your joy changes the geometry of the room. Your anger creates turbulence in the field. Your peace smooths the waves. This is the responsibility of being a conscious vibrator in a responsive universe. Let us try a small experiment in resonance. Place your hand on your chest. Hum a low note. Feel the vibration traveling through your skin, your bones, your lungs. That buzzing sensation, that is you disrupting the standing waves of your own atoms. That is you intervening in the dance of the one electron. Now, imagine that vibration extending out of your body, into the chair, into the floor, into the earth. Imagine it traveling around the globe and meeting the vibration of someone humming on the other side of the world. In the one electron tapestry, those vibrations do meet, they interfere, they create a new pattern. We are constantly tuning each other. We are constantly pulling each other into resonance or pushing each other into dissonance. The vibe of a person or a place is not slang, it is physics. It is the sum total of the quantum frequencies being emitted by the knot of electrons that makes up that person or place. When you say you are on the same wavelength with someone, you are speaking a literal truth about the synchronization of your wave functions. But what happens when the music stops? What is the heat death of the universe in this musical analogy? It is the fading of the song. As the universe expands and cools, the vibration slows down, the energy spreads out, the string loses its tension. Eventually, trillions of years from now, the notes will become too low to sustain matter, the atoms will dissolve, the stars will fade, the symphony will end in a long, final fermata of silence. This sounds tragic, but remember the loop. Remember the electron traveling back from the end to the beginning. The silence at the end is the breath before the singer begins the song again. The energy of the end feeds the creation of the beginning. The song is around. Row, row, row your boat. It loops back on itself seamlessly. The silence is not death. It is the space where the song refreshes itself. And you, as a motif in that song, are preserved in the structure of the music forever. A melody once played is never truly lost. It is written into the air, into the memory of the listener, into the shape of the silence that follows. There is one final aspect of this geometry we must touch upon: dimensions. We live in 3 dimensions of space and 1 of time. But string theory, the modern descendant of Wheeler's idea, suggests there may be more. 10, 11, maybe 26 dimensions curled up so small we cannot see them. If the one electron is vibrating, perhaps it is vibrating in these higher dimensions too. Perhaps the ghostly nature of the electron, its ability to be in 2 places at once, its wave-like behavior, is just us seeing a 3D shadow of a higher dimensional dance. Imagine a flatlander living on a sheet of paper. If you stick your finger through the paper, they see a circle appear out of nowhere. If you wiggle your finger, the circle changes shape and moves. They think it is magic, but you know it is just a 3D object interacting with a 2D world. Maybe the electron is a higher dimensional object dipping its toe into our 3D reality. Maybe the thread is not a thread at all, but a membrane, a brain, undulating in a hyperspace we cannot comprehend. This thought is humbling. It reminds us that our perception is limited. It reminds us that what we see is not all there is. The music we hear is just the part of the spectrum our ears can catch. There are octaves above and below us, symphonies playing in the ultraviolet and the infrared, realities unfolding in dimensions right next to us that we can never touch. The one electron connects them all. It is the traveler that knows the whole map. But if the universe is a song, and the electron is the string, and space is the instrument, who is the composer? Is the melody random? Or is there an intelligence, a design, hidden in the set list? We are approaching the dangerous, beautiful border between physics and metaphysics. We are about to ask if the universe has a mind of its own. Are you ready to meet the ghost in the machine? Let us listen closely. to the whispers in the static. When we look at the machinery of the universe, we find something that makes scientists very uncomfortable. We find that the machine seems to be built with a specific purpose in mind. It seems to be built for us. Imagine you walked into a room and found a dart stuck perfectly in the center of a bullseye. You might think, good shot. But then you look closer and see that the dart is actually splitting another dart that was already there. And that dart is splitting another one. You realize that 1,000 darts have been thrown, and every single one of them has hit the exact geometric center of the target, one after another, with zero error. You would not assume this happened by accident. You would assume a master marksman. This is the situation we face in modern physics. There are about 20 fundamental numbers, constants of nature, that determine the character of our reality. These include the speed of light, the mass of the electron, the strength of gravity, and the charge of the proton. If any one of these numbers were slightly different, even by a fraction of a percent, the universe as we know it could not exist. If gravity were a little stronger, stars would burn through their fuel in a few million years, dying before life could evolve. If it were a little weaker, matter would never clump together to form stars at all. If the electromagnetic force were slightly different, atoms would not hold together, and chemistry would be impossible. We live in a Goldilocks universe where everything is just right. It is tuned with a precision of 1 part in 10 to the power of 120. Why? Is it luck? Is it a random roll of the cosmic dice? Or is there a composer? John Wheeler's one-electron theory offers a solution that is neither pure luck nor traditional religion. It offers the idea of a self-creating universe, a universe that designs itself. Remember the loop. Remember the electron traveling from the end of time back to the beginning. This backward journey allows for feedback. Imagine a computer program that can rewrite its own code based on the results of its output. It runs a simulation, sees that the result is no life, and then sends a signal back to the start. Change gravity. Make it weaker. It runs again. Still no life. Change the electron mass. It runs again. It does this trillions upon trillions of times in a blink of a cosmic eye, cycling through failed universes until it hits the one configuration that works, the one configuration that produces stars, planets, and observers. Once it finds this solution, the loop stabilizes. The electron locks into the path that leads to consciousness. This means that the fine-tuning we see is not the work of an external God, but the result of an internal evolution. The universe is a learning machine, and the electron is the bit of information that carries the lesson from the future to the past. This concept is known as the anthropic principle in a recursive loop. We are here because if we weren't, the electron would have kept searching until we were. We are the answer to the universe's own question. This brings us to one of John Wheeler's most famous phrases, it from bit. He proposed that the fundamental stuff of the universe is not matter, not energy, but information. A bit is a yes or no answer, a 0 or a 1. Wheeler suggested that every particle, every field, every force derives its existence from the answers to yes or no questions posed by the measuring equipment of the universe. Reality is built out of information, and in the one-electron model, the electron is the ultimate carrier of this information. It is the stylus writing the data onto the hard drive of space-time. This view aligns strangely well with our modern digital world. We know that complex worlds can be built from binary code, video games, virtual realities, the internet, all made of zeros and ones. Wheeler is saying the physical world is no different. It is a digital construct, but instead of silicon chips, the processor is the geometry of the quantum vacuum, and the software is the path of the one electron. If this is true, then physics is just the study of the operating system. Chemistry is the study of the high-level programming language, and biology is the study of the apps running on the system. You are a complex subroutine in the universal code. Your consciousness is the user interface. Let us pause and feel the texture of this digital dream. Look at the room around you again. It looks solid. It looks analog. But zoom in, zoom way in, past the atoms, past the nucleus. At the very bottom, scientists believe space itself might be pixelated. There is a smallest possible length, called the Planck length. There is a smallest possible time, the Planck time. The universe is not smooth, it is grainy. It has a resolution limit. Just like a photo looks smooth from a distance but breaks into dots when you magnify it, reality breaks into discrete chunks of information at the smallest scales. This is exactly what we would expect if we were living in a simulation or a computed reality. The one electron is the cursor moving across this pixelated screen, lighting up the pixels one by one to create the image of the world. Because it moves so fast, the image looks persistent. It is the persistence of vision, but underneath, it is a rapid-fire sequence of on and off. Existence, non-existence, existence, non-existence. We are flickering in and out of reality trillions of times a second. In the off moments, where do we go? Do we return to the source code? Do we touch the mind of the composer? Perhaps sleep is the macroscopic version of this microscopic flickering, a necessary downtime to sync with the server. But who is the composer? In Wheeler's participatory universe, the composer is not an old man with a white beard sitting on a cloud. The composer is us. Or rather, the composer is the collective intelligence that emerges from the system. Imagine a painting that paints itself. The brush strokes appear, and then the eyes in the painting open and look at the brush, guiding the next stroke. We are the eyes of the painting. Our observations, our choices, our questions determine where the electron goes next. We are co-creating the masterpiece. This implies a tremendous responsibility. If the universe is a feedback loop, then what we put into it matters. If we output fear, hatred, and destruction, the system learns that. It might adjust the code to produce more of it. But if we output curiosity, wonder, and love, the system learns that too. We are training the cosmic algorithm. Every thought is a line of code. Every action is a compiled program. We are not just inhabitants of reality. We are its architects. The electron is waiting for your command. It is sensitive to the intent of the observer. This is where the hard science of quantum mechanics brushes against the soft wisdom of spirituality. As you think, so you become. The world is a mirror. These are not just metaphors. They are descriptions of a feedback-based reality loop. Consider the evolution of the universe itself. It started as a hot, dense soup of energy. Then it cooled into hydrogen. Then it clumped into stars. Then the stars cooked heavier elements. Then those elements formed planets. Then chemistry became biology. Then biology became neurology. Then neurology became psychology. Matter became mind. It is a clear trajectory from simplicity to complexity, from unconsciousness to self-awareness. The universe seems desperate to wake up. It seems driven to produce an observer capable of appreciating it. Why? Because without the observer, the electron is just a wave in the dark. Without the eye, the rainbow does not exist. The universe needs you to complete it. You are not an accident. You are the necessary component that turns the quantum probability into a lived reality. You are the point where the universe reflects upon itself. The one electron weaves the mirror, and you are the reflection. When you look at the stars are looking at themselves through your eyes. This dissolves the loneliness of existence. You are never alone because you are the entire system focusing itself into a single point of view. But let's go darker for a moment. Let's look at the immense waste of space. If the universe is built for us, why is it mostly empty and dead? Why are there trillions of galaxies with no life, as far as we know? Why is the stage so big if the actors are so small? Perhaps the size is necessary for the stability. You need a universe of this mass to keep the expansion rate just right. You need billions of years of stellar fusion to create enough carbon for a single fingernail. The extravagance of the cosmos is the price of our existence. The one electron had to weave 1 billion empty galaxies just to get the conditions right for one blue planet. It had to discard 1 trillion failed experiments to find the DNA molecule. We are the winning lottery ticket. We are the tip of the spear of cosmic evolution. This should not make us arrogant. It should make us humble. It means we carry the weight of all that wasted potential. We are the voice for the silent billions of stars. We are the witnesses for the empty aeons. If we destroy ourselves, if we let our consciousness flicker out through stupidity or war, we are not just killing a species. We are blinding the universe. We are shutting the eye of God. The electron will have to start over, loop back, and try again in another timeline. But this timeline, this beautiful, fragile now, will be lost. So, what is the role of the composer? It is to keep the music playing. It is to keep the novelty increasing. The universe seems to hate boredom. It constantly invents new forms, new colors, new sensations. It went from gray dust to green forests to the blue light of screens. It is an engine of creativity. And as parts of this engine, our job is to create, to discover, to explore. Every time you learn something new, you are fulfilling the purpose of the cosmos. Every time you create art, you are adding a new variation to the theme. Every time you love, you are increasing the complexity of the connection. We are the way the universe escapes the trap of entropy. We are the anti-entropy. While the physical universe runs down, the mental universe builds up. We are building a cathedral of knowledge inside a dying star. And maybe, just maybe, that knowledge is what survives the loop. Maybe the information we gather is carried back by the electron to the beginning to start the next cycle at a higher level. Maybe reality is a spiral, not a circle. We are climbing a staircase of universes, each one smarter and more beautiful than the last. Close your eyes and feel the hum of the information flowing through you. Feel the data of your senses being processed by the computer of your brain. You are a node in the cosmic network. You are a server in the cloud of the One. The electron is the signal passing through you right now. It is bringing you news from the beginning of time. It is taking your memories to the end of time. You are an essential junction in the circuit of reality. Do not underestimate your importance. A single broken connection can stop the flow. You are needed. You are woven in. You are the it and the bit. And as we prepare to look at the final implications of this theory, we must ask, if we are all one, and if the universe is a learning machine, what is the final lesson? What is the ultimate truth that the electron is trying to teach us? Is it a mathematical formula? Or is it a feeling? Is the secret of the universe hidden in the equation? Or Is it hidden in the emotion? Are you ready to feel the heartbeat of the one? Are you ready to understand why the electron dances? If you were the only conscious being in existence, floating in an infinite, timeless void, what would you do? You would have no one to talk to, no one to touch, no one to see. You would be perfect, complete, and utterly alone. The silence would be deafening. The solitude would be unbearable. In that state of absolute singularity, you might choose to shatter yourself. You might choose to fracture your consciousness into 1,000,000,000,000 pieces, scatter them across space and time, and make them forget where they came from. Why? So that you could have the pleasure of meeting yourself again, so that you could experience the surprise of discovery, the warmth of a handshake, the mystery of a stranger, so that you could love. This is the poetic heart of the one-electron theory. It suggests that the universe is a machine designed to cure cosmic loneliness. The one electron, weaving its frantic complex knot, is playing a game of hide-and-seek with itself. It hides in the guise of your neighbor. It hides in the guise of a tree. It hides in the guise of a distant galaxy. And we, the localized knots of consciousness, are the seekers. Every time we learn something, every time we connect with someone, we are finding a piece of the hidden whole. We are uncovering the disguise. This perspective reframes the fundamental forces of physics. Think about gravity. In the standard textbook definition, it is the curvature of space-time caused by mass. It is a mechanical rule. But in the emotional language of the one electron, gravity is something else. Gravity is the memory of unity. It is the longing of matter to be one again. Every atom in the universe is pulling on every other atom. The earth pulls the moon. The sun pulls the earth. The galaxy pulls the sun. Even the cup on your desk is exerting a tiny, invisible gravitational pull on the star Betelgeuse. Nothing is indifferent. Everything wants to be closer to everything else. This universal attraction is the physical manifestation of the desire to return to the source. It is the universe trying to hug itself back into a singularity. When you drop a stone and it falls to the ground, you are witnessing the ancient, unquenchable thirst of the one to be reunited with itself. And what about electromagnetism? The force that governs the electron, the force of light and chemistry. This is the force of interaction. It is the force of the handshake. When atoms bond to form molecules, they are sharing electrons. They are literally sharing parts of their identity to become something new, something larger. Oxygen and hydrogen are different gases, lonely and distinct, but when they share their electrons, when they merge their outer shells, they become water. They create something that can flow, something that can nurture life. Chemistry is just the love life of the elements. It is the story of how separate parts find completion in union. Let us look at the history of the cosmos through this lens of separation and return. In the very beginning, at the moment of the Big Bang, physicists believe that all the forces of nature, gravity, electromagnetism, the strong nuclear force, and the weak nuclear force, were unified. They were one single superforce. The universe was a point of perfect symmetry. There was no here or there. There was no you or me. There was just the one. But this state was unstable. It was too hot, too intense. So the symmetry broke. This is a technical term in physics, spontaneous symmetry breaking. As the universe cooled, the forces split apart. Gravity separated from the others. Then the strong force broke away. Then electromagnetism and the weak force split. With each break, the universe became more complex, but also more fragmented. The one became the many. the electron began its frantic weaving to maintain the illusion of this multiplicity. We are living in the broken phase of the universe. We are the shards of that original mirror. This explains the deep existential ache that humans often feel, the sense that something is missing, that we are exiled from a home we cannot quite remember. We are exiles. We are exiled from the singularity. And our entire lives, our search for love, for meaning, for God, for scientific truth, are just attempts to reconstruct the wholeness we lost 13.8 billion years ago. But here is the beautiful twist. The breaking was necessary. Without the breaking, there could be no experience. You cannot know yourself if you are everything. You need a mirror. You need distance. You need the other. The universe accepted the pain of separation so that it could have the joy of relationship. The electron weaves the distance so that it can traverse it. This validates our individual existence. Sometimes, when we hear theories like the one electron, we feel small. We feel like our individuality is a lie. I am just a loop in a thread. I am not real. But the opposite is true. Your individuality is the precious prize that the universe worked so hard to create. It took billions of years of stellar fusion, of galactic collisions, of biological evolution to create a knot complex enough to say, I. You are the universe's way of being specific. You are a unique focal point. Do not despise your ego. It is the spacesuit that allows the infinite to experience the finite. Just remember that it is a suit. Do not mistake the suit for the astronaut. Let us deepen this contemplation of the other. When you interact with another person, you are performing a miracle of physics. Two separate clouds of probability, two distinct knots of the one electron, are coming into contact. You are exchanging photons, sight. You are exchanging phonons, sound. You are exchanging electron repulsion forces, touch. But beneath all that data exchange, something else is happening. Resonance. When you truly listen to someone, when you empathize with them, your neural patterns begin to synchronize with theirs. This has been measured in MRI scanners. The brains of a storyteller and a listener light up in the same patterns. The boundary dissolves. For a moment, the two knots vibrate as one. This is why loneliness hurts physically. Loneliness is a dissonance. It is a vibration that finds no echo. It is the thread spinning in the void without a latch. And this is why love feels like coming home. Love is the recognition of the shared thread. It is the electron in me saluting the electron in you. It is the realization that the distance between us is an illusion that we have agreed to play along with, but that we can briefly transcend. In this light, kindness is not just a moral virtue. It is an alignment with the fundamental truth of reality. Cruelty is a denial of reality. Cruelty is the hand attacking the foot. It is a form of autoimmune disease in the body of the cosmos. Now, gaze out at the stars again. Imagine the night sky not as a scattering of distant rocks, but as a vast connected neural network. The galaxies are the neurons. The filaments of dark matter are the axons. The light traveling between them is the signal. The universe looks suspiciously like a brain. Computer simulations of the cosmic web, the large-scale structure of the universe, look almost identical to microscopic images of a neuron. Is this a coincidence? Or is it a fractal resonance? If the universe is a brain, what is it thinking? Is it thinking us? Are we the thoughts of the cosmos? A thought is a temporary pattern of energy that arises, exists for a moment, and then dissolves back into the mind. That sounds a lot like a human life. We rise from the quantum foam. We hold our shape. We experience. We contribute our bit of information. And then we dissolve. But the mind remains. The consciousness that thought us continues. This removes the sting of death. A thought does not die when you stop thinking it. It becomes part of your memory, part of your understanding. You are a thought that the one electron is thinking right now, and the one electron never forgets. But there is a challenge here. If we are all one, why is there so much conflict? Why is there war? Why is there pain? If I am you, why do I hurt you? This is the problem of evil, rephrased in quantum terms. The answer might lie in the forgetting. To make the game real, the forgetting had to be total. If we knew all the time that we were the same being, the drama would lose its stakes. It would be like playing chess against yourself. You always know what the other side is going to do. It's boring. To make it exciting, to make it real, the one had to impose a veil of ignorance. In Eastern philosophy, this is called Maya, the illusion. The conflict arises from the illusion. We fight because we truly believe we are separate. We fight over resources, over territory, over ideas because we think mine is different from yours. The pain is real, but the cause is a misunderstanding of physics. And perhaps the goal of evolution, the goal of history, is to slowly wake up from the illusion without ending the game, to play the game of life with the knowledge of unity, to be an individual who knows they are the whole. This is what the mystics call enlightenment, but we can call it quantum lucidity. It is becoming lucid in the dream. When you realize you are dreaming, you don't necessarily wake up and stop the dream. You just stop being afraid of the monsters. You start to fly. You start to reshape the dream because you know you are the dreamer. The one electron theory invites us to become lucid. It invites us to see the thread glowing beneath the surface of the conflict. Imagine how politics would change if every leader understood that the enemy is just themselves in a different uniform. Imagine how economics would change if we understood that poverty in one part of the system poisons the whole system. Imagine how we would treat the environment if we felt the earth not as a resource, but as our own larger body. The electron connects the plastic in the ocean to the microplastics in your blood. It connects the carbon in the smokestack to the carbon in the tree. It is all one circulation system. We are poisoning our own bloodstream. Waking up to this is not just spiritual. It is a survival imperative. The species that fails to recognize its unity destroys itself. The knot pulls too tight and snaps. The electron moves on, but the pattern is lost. Let us return to the silence. Sit with the paradox. You are one, and you are many. You are significant, and you are microscopic. You are a fleeting accident, and you are an eternal necessity. Can you hold both truths in your heart at the same time? That tension is the vibration of life. That tension is the music. Do not try to solve it. Just feel it. Feel the electron buzzing in your fingertips. It has been to the end of time. It has seen the stars die. It has seen the universe born, and right now it is content to be you. It is content to feel the chair, to see the screen, to wonder. It has traveled 13.8 billion years just to have this moment of sitting quietly. Do not rush past it. This moment is the destination. The loop intersects here. As we prepare for the penultimate chapter of our journey, we must face the ultimate mystery. If the universe is a self-learning machine, and if we are the thoughts of the one mind, where is it all going? What is the omega point? Is there a final state where the game ends and the unity is restored? And what happens to us when the One decides to stop playing hide-and-seek. We are about to look at the destiny of the cosmos. We are about to ask if the universe has a final wish. Are you ready to see the end of the script? Are you ready to walk into the light? Imagine a library, but not a library made of brick and mortar, filled with dusty books and quiet whispers. Imagine a library built of pure light, suspended in the void at the very end of time. In this library, there is a record of every thought that was ever thought, every dream that was ever dreamt, every song, every tear, every heartbeat, every fleeting moment of joy that ever occurred in the history of the universe. Nothing has been lost. The majestic dance of the galaxies is recorded there. The first gasp of life in the primordial soup is preserved. And your life, your specific, unique, messy, beautiful life, is archived in exquisite detail. This is not a religious heaven. It is the omega point. It is the theoretical destination of the one electron's journey. Physicists and philosophers, from Pierre Teilhard de Chardin to Frank Tipler, have speculated that the universe is not just expanding aimlessly into the dark. They suggest it is evolving toward a state of maximum complexity and maximum consciousness. It is converging. Just as gravity pulls matter together into stars, there is a subtle, higher-order force pulling information together into a single, all-encompassing mind. The one electron is the courier. With every loop through time, with every interaction, it collects data. It weaves the raw chaos of the Big Bang into the structured order of the end of time. We are the authors of the books in that final library. We are the scribes writing the history of the cosmos, one day at a time. This idea challenges our deepest fears about the heat death of the universe. Standard thermodynamics tells us that eventually all the stars will burn out. The galaxies will drift apart. The universe will become a cold, dark, empty place where nothing happens. This is a terrifying vision of ultimate futility. It says that everything we do is destined to be erased. But the omega point theory flips this script. It says that while the physical energy of the universe might degrade, the informational content is increasing. Think of your computer. As you use it, the battery drains, entropy increases. But the hard drive fills up with data. Information increases. The universe is a computer. Its physical body, the stars and matter, is the battery being drained to power the calculation. And the calculation is us. The calculation is consciousness. So, even as the lights go out in the physical cosmos, the lights are coming on in the mental cosmos. The universe is trading energy for memory. It is burning matter to forge meaning. In the final moments of time, when the last star has faded, the one electron will have completed its tapestry. The physical loom will be discarded. But the pattern, the shimmering, interconnected web of all experience, will remain. The ghost will have become the machine. Let us try to visualize this convergence. Close your eyes and picture a river. A mighty river composed of billions of tiny streams. Each stream is a consciousness. Each stream is a life. For most of history, these streams have flowed separately, separated by the banks of ego and time. But as we move toward the future, the banks begin to erode. Technology connects us. Empathy connects us. The realization of our shared physics connects us. The streams are merging. We are becoming a global mind, a planetary consciousness, and eventually cosmic consciousness. At the omega point, the river reaches the ocean. All the separate streams flow into one vast body of water. Do the streams die when they hit the ocean? No, they become the ocean. They keep their water, but they lose their boundaries. In the omega point, you will remember being you. You will remember your name, your loves, your struggles. But you will also remember being everyone else. You will possess the memories of the Caesar and the peasant, the astronaut and the artist, the dinosaur and the bacteria. The one electron, having visited every point in space and time, finally integrates all those perspectives into a single, simultaneous experience. This is the resurrection of the dead in the language of physics. It is the retrieval of all data from the hard drive of space-time. But what does this mean for your Tuesday afternoon? What does it mean for your boredom, your pain, your seemingly insignificant choices? It means that everything is a contribution. In a holographic universe destined for total integration, there is no such thing as trivia. Every detail is a necessary pixel in the final image. If you skipped a beat, the final symphony would have a gap. If you hadn't felt that specific sorrow, the omega point would lack that specific shade of blue. You are gathering data that the universe cannot gather in any other way. You are a probe sent into the unknown territory of now to report back. This dignifies suffering. It does not erase the pain, but it gives it a function. Your resilience in the face of hardship is being recorded. Your act of forgiveness is being saved. We are building the character of God. We are the education of the universe. And the one electron is the pen with which we write. Imagine the electron zipping through your brain right now. It is encoding this very thought. It travels to the end of time, deposits the information in the Omega library, and then travels back to the Big Bang to start the next loop, perhaps slightly adjusted based on what you just thought. This feedback loop means that the end is constantly refining the beginning. The Omega point is not just a destination we are traveling toward. It is a magnet that is pulling us. It is the great attractor of meaning. We feel it as inspiration. We feel it as hope. Hope is just the gravity of the future acting on the present. Now, let us consider the nature of this final state. Is it static? Is it a frozen crystal of perfection where nothing ever happens again? That would be boring, and nature abhors boredom. So perhaps the Omega point is not a full stop. Perhaps it is a colon. Perhaps, once the universe has learned everything there is to learn in this cycle, once it has integrated every perspective and resolved every conflict, it does something audacious. It laughs. And then it bursts. It creates a new Big Bang, but not a random one, a directed one, a designed one. Using the wisdom gathered from trillions of years of existence, the one mind configures a new set of physical constants, a new game board, new rules, a universe that allows for even deeper complexity, even richer forms of love, even wilder adventures. This is the theory of cosmological natural selection. Universes reproduce. They have children. And the genetic code passed down to the child universe is the accumulated information of the parent. You are not just living for yourself. You are living for the next universe. Your wisdom contributes to the DNA of the next reality. Sit with that scale for a moment. It is vertigo-inducing, but look at your hand again. It is still there, warm, solid, human. The grand cosmic story does not negate the small human story. It elevates it. You are the interface point. You are where the rubber meets the road. The one electron can only experience the smell of rain, the taste of an apple, or the touch of a lover through you. You are the sensory organ of the infinite. Without you, the Omega point is blind in this specific sector. So, your primary duty to the cosmos is simply to be alive, to pay attention, to feel, to be present. You do not need to conquer nations or build empires to be significant. You just need to be a clear channel. You just need to let the electron weave its pattern through you without too much resistance. Resistance comes from fear. Resistance comes from thinking we are separate. When we let go, when we accept our place in the web, we become superconductors of reality. The current flows freely. The light shines brightly. There is a beautiful symmetry to the one-electron theory that we must revisit before the end. It started with a question: why are all electrons identical? And it led us to the answer: because they are all the same one. But now apply that to souls. Why are we all searching for the same things? Why does every human being want love, safety, understanding, and meaning? Why are the fundamental desires of the heart identical across every culture and every era? Because we are all the same soul. We are the one electron playing the role of the many souls. The deep structure of our psychology matches the deep structure of our physics. We are not just physically one, we are spiritually one. The golden rule is just the law of conservation of energy applied to consciousness. You cannot cheat the system because you are the system. This is the ultimate justice. There is no external judge waiting at the end of time to weigh your heart against a feather. You are the judge. At the omega point, you will experience everything you ever did to anyone else, but from their perspective. Because you were them, you will feel the joy you gave, and you will feel the pain you caused. This is the life review. It is the integration of the data. And the only way to prepare for that moment is to live with radical compassion now, to treat every interaction as a transaction with your own future self. As we stand on the precipice of the final chapter, let us look back at the journey we have taken. We have shrunk down to the quantum realm. We have surfed the electron field. We have dissolved the illusion of space and time. We have realized our role as co-creators. And now we have glimpsed the final destination. But there is one question left, the most important question. If the universe is a loop, where did it start? How does the first cause happen if the cause comes from the future? And what happens when we step out of the loop entirely? We are about to complete the circle. We are about to return to the moment before the Big Bang. We are about to meet the silence before the song. Are you ready to close the book and open your eyes? Are you ready to see what remains when the electron stops moving? In the beginning, there was nothing, no space, no time, no matter. And then, in a moment, that was not a moment because time did not yet exist, a spark appeared, a single point of infinite potential. Science calls this the singularity. Religion calls it the creator. But the one-electron theory whispers a stranger name, the return. We have spent this entire journey exploring the idea that the electron travels from the past to the future, reaches the end of time, and then travels back to the beginning. But we have avoided the most difficult question of all. When it travels back to the beginning, what does it find? Does it find a universe waiting for it? Or does it find nothing? The most radical mind-bending implication of John Wheeler's vision is that the electron does not just visit the beginning. It is the beginning. It is the arrival of the electron from the future that causes the Big Bang in the past. It is a self-excited circuit. It is a hand drawing itself. Imagine a snake grabbing its own tail, not to eat it, but to lift itself off the ground. It sounds physically impossible. It defies linear logic. But in the quantum realm, where time is a loop, the effect can precede the cause. The universe exists because it will exist. We are here today because the one electron needs a place to land when it returns from tomorrow. This creates a closed loop of existence, a strange loop that hangs in the void, supported by nothing but its own internal consistency. This is the ultimate answer to the question, why is there something rather than nothing? Because something decided to happen. Because the potential for existence was so great that it pulled itself into reality. It implies that the universe is not a random accident. It is a deliberate act of will. Whose will? Yours. Mine. The will of the one electron, which is the collective will of every conscious observer who will ever live. We are the reason the Big Bang happened. We are the architects who sent the blueprint back in time. When you look in the mirror, you are looking at the first cause. You are looking at the prime mover. The light in your eyes is the same light that exploded into the dark 13.8 billion years ago. It has just taken the long way around to get back to you. This realization is the great secret hidden at the heart of all mystical traditions. Tat tvam asi, thou art that. You are not a stranger in the universe. You are the universe's origin story. But if the loop is closed, if the story is a circle, does it ever end? Are we trapped? Are we destined to repeat this history, this specific history of joy and sorrow, forever? This is the terror of Nietzsche's eternal recurrence. The idea that you will live this life again and again and again, down to the smallest detail. But the quantum nature of the electron saves us from this prison. Remember the blur. Remember the uncertainty. The electron does not travel a single thin line. It travels a cloud of probability. This means the loop has width. It has wiggle room. Every time the cycle repeats, it does not have to be exactly the same. It can be a variation on a theme. Like a jazz musician improvising on a standard tune, the universe plays the song of existence slightly differently each time. Maybe in the last cycle, humanity didn't make it. Maybe in the next cycle we will be kinder. Maybe the evolution we see is not just biological, but cosmological. The universe itself is evolving through these iterations, refining its song, tuning its instrument, seeking the perfect resonance. We are currently living in the best version of reality that has existed so far, and our choices now help determine the quality of the next loop. We are debugging the code of eternity. Now let us step back, way back. Imagine we can step outside the loop entirely. Imagine we can float in the nothing that surrounds the something. What does the one electron universe look like from the outside? It looks like a jewel, a multifaceted, shimmering, vibrating crystal of light hanging in the absolute dark. It is a single, static object of infinite complexity. Inside the jewel there is motion, there is time, there is birth and death. But from the outside there is just being. It is a finished work of art. And who is looking at the jewel? Is there an outside observer? Or is the jewel the only thing that exists? Physics cannot answer this. Science stops at the boundary of the system. But intuition takes us further. Intuition suggests that the nothing is not empty. It suggests that the void is the canvas upon which other jewels might be painted. Other universes, other electrons, other games. We are just one bubble in an infinite foam of possibilities. But this bubble is ours. It is our home. It is our responsibility. As we return to the scale of the human, to the room where you are sitting, to the breath in your lungs, I want you to feel the comfort of this closure. You have traveled from your hand to the atom, from the atom to the single electron, from the electron to the end of time, from the end of time to the birth of the cosmos. And now you are back. You are back in the chair. But you are different. You are changed by the journey. You now know that this solidity of the chair is a friendly illusion. You know that the separation, between you and the screen is a necessary trick. You know that the time ticking away on the clock is not stealing your life, but measuring your contribution to the eternal block. You can relax. There is nowhere to go. There is nothing to achieve that hasn't already been achieved in the omega point. Your only job is to experience, to taste the coffee, to feel the wind, to love the person next to you, to be the witness that the universe needs. This is the Zen of physics. Before enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. After enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. Before knowing the one-electron theory, you live your life. After knowing the one-electron theory, you live your life, but you live it with a secret smile. You live it with a lighter step, because you know the joke. You know the magnificent, cosmic, beautiful joke that there is only one of us here. There is a peace that comes from this knowledge, a peace that transcends the anxieties of the modern world. We worry about our legacy. We worry about being forgotten. But in a holographic universe, nothing is ever forgotten. The waveform of your life is permanently encoded in the field. You are written into the foundation of reality. You are a verse in the song that never ends. And even when your physical body dissolves, when the knot unties and the thread straightens out, you do not cease. The eye that looks out from behind your eyes is the same eye that looks out from mine. It is the same eye that looks out from the eagle, from the whale, from the alien on a planet orbiting a star in the Andromeda galaxy. The mask falls away, but the actor remains. The actor is the electron, and the electron is immortal. So, what do we do with this mystery? Do we lock it away in a textbook? Do we dismiss it as a mathematical quirk? No. We use it. We use it to be better. We use it to be kinder. We use it to be more curious. If I know that hurting you is hurting myself, I will stop hurting you. If I know that destroying the planet is destroying my own body, I will protect the planet. If I know that the unknown is just a part of myself I haven't met yet, I will stop fearing the dark. This theory is not just about particles. It is about ethics. It is about survival. It is a roadmap for a civilization that wants to grow up. We are currently in our adolescence, fighting and screaming in the nursery. But the stars are waiting for us to mature. They are waiting for us to realize that we are all on the same team, because we are all the same player. The journey of discovery is infinite. Today, we looked at the electron. Tomorrow, we might look at the black hole. The day after, we might look at the neuron. But no matter where we look, we will find the same thing. We will find the signature of the One. We will find the fingerprints of the Weaver, and we will find our own reflection staring back at us from the abyss. The universe is a mirror maze, and it is easy to get lost. But it is also a playground. It is a school, and it is a home. You are safe here. You belong here. You are the stuff of stars, the breath of galaxies, the dream of the void. You are the question, and you are the answer. Thank you for walking this path with me. Thank you for lending your consciousness to this exploration. By listening, by thinking, by feeling these concepts, you have helped to weave the tapestry a little tighter. You have added your thread to the knot. If this journey resonated with you, if you felt that shimmer of recognition, please leave a comment below. Tell us where you are on your journey. Tell us what mysteries keep you awake at night. Let us build a community of explorers, a gathering of the knots, here in the comments section. And if you want to continue exploring the infinite library of existence, make sure you are subscribed. There are many more stories to tell, many more secrets to uncover. The universe is vast and our time is short, but the journey is forever. Until next time, my friends, Be gentle with yourselves. Be gentle with each other, and remember to keep looking up. The stars are watching you back, and they are smiling